show, which is the bullying section of the morning.
Bullying?
When we insult each other physically and otherwise. Good morning, everybody.
You called me a musclehead.
Listen, if the
and then I said,
wife beater T-shirt fits or whatever it is you wear.
Have I ever worn a wife beater on the air?
I don't know. Do you in the gym?
Sometimes.
See? Okay. Coffee with Sexy Liberal Carlos Alzraki in hour number 3. 1-800-STEP-12, the phone number toll-free from anywhere.
And in retaliation...
I do have Jessica Tandy hands. I do not have Madonna arms.
Yes, you do have
because
Madonna
that's
arms.
Edgar Winter arms.
Oh, God.
Listen, I am old, and I have a very sad announcement to make. Are you ready for my very sad announcement? I would like some sympathetic music of some kind, because of all the pathetic stories, and last week, I don't know how that story... Listen, I have a number of pathetic love life stories, but the one I lit the purple shower cap on fire, taking a romantic bath.
Oh, I didn't know it was
candle.
purple.
It was candle.
You owned a purple shower cap?
Yes. Yes, I did. Okay. Oh, and also, by the way, no, it was not the first date. Stop calling me a slut on Twitter. I was taking a romantic candlelit bath, and I lit my... Okay. Don't make me review. Is before Japanese hair straightening, I had a blowout at the salon. It's expensive. It was a thing. I had a plan. I had a plan for the evening. It went a little awry.
It went very awry.
Let me just say all that doesn't matter now, and this is actually could be good news for the amount of,
Okay.
activity I currently get.
Which is none.
Okay, I think I told the story. I hiked Mount Baldy on Saturday, which was not a good idea for a woman of 108. 12.
Yeah.
But thank you. Thank you for underestimating. Yes, it was 6 hours of hiking, 10,000-foot elevation. So I've been unable to walk. Walk. Yes. Despite taking an Epsom salt bath or whatever it is every 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so someone else suggested I use BioFreeze. It's like icy hot. It's like the Bengay thing. Here is the sad news. I appear at this point to have freeze-dried my vagina. Which could be good, in that now that whole area is sort of like, under construction. There's nothing... Well, here's what happened. Because it's my quads, it's my thighs, so I'm having the problem. So it is this spray form of BioFreeze. And so I did that, and I put my pajama bottoms on, and I suddenly realized that I had... that it is like a vaginal version of like Frozen down there.
I was going to say, I'm going to call you Elsa from now on.
Carlos later could do, the song
Let It Go.
Coming out of there, That's what that's sort of the theme song. I can hear. I didn't really know what to do, and I tried to get, toilet paper. I didn't know really exactly how to clean it up.
At least you didn't get your tongue stuck to it like in a Christmas Story.
Anyway, that's my latest pathetic story. But that's good, because now I won't even notice this is what's happening down there. It's just the whole area. It's like a frozen hinterland. But my thighs feel better. All right. So, these stories are so entertaining. You're about me being 1,000 years old.
You're like a French bulldog. You're like bred not to exist. With all the things you do to yourself.
I'm a Shar-Pei at this point.
Yes.
They're
just not meant to exist.
Or Brit Hume. Right. Exactly. Okay. So,
they're not. They haven't. It's not how familiar.
That's my point. Okay. So here is what is even more pathetic about my life and my little stories.
What?
Is we have listeners that put them to song.
Why? Because it's fun. Steph's got a radio show. She's got a bronze ass surprise. Her hands are always cold. That's 'cause she's got Jessica Tandy's hands. She'll turn it on and on. With hot fancy rhymes. She's pure as LA snow. She's got Jessica Tandy's hands.
No, I don't.
Ouch. Hey.
Wow. Thanks, Audra. Thanks, Kate. In Minneapolis. That was nice. Okay. Oh, and you did notice that, yes, one of my nail polish gels is missing.
Yeah.
If I were a horse, they would just shoot me now. That would just be it. I would be glued. End of the week. All right. Where are we?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You You've got body parts falling off right in front of me.
This is always the way it is before vacation. We go on vacation for, well, you don't.
Well, I'm here next week.
Right, you're going to be running best of.
Yeah.
Cinderella.
Well.
But anyway, I'll be on vacation. Travis and I will be on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, together next week.
Awesome.
You're taking a different week. Never mind. All right, everybody move along. Nothing more to see here. Oh, thank God, vacation finally. Crawling to the finish line, as always. All right, so the big news yesterday out of Ferguson was this new audio tape.
Which I don't think says a whole lot.
That's what I'm afraid of. Again, for those of us that have our suspicions that are about what happened, and one attorney I saw on TV yesterday said the pause in the gunshots could be significant because certainly at that point the officer knows he is unarmed, and the fact that anyway, they said there were 6 shots and then a 3-second pause and then 4 more shots.
Right.
Tape has not been authenticated yet.
Which is
kind
what
of
I'm
embarrassing
worried about.
for the guy doing the video chat.
That poor guy.
Pretty.
Oh,
you look
I've seen all your videos.
You.
Like, oh, God. Wait a minute, we have the audio of it.
Yes, that's why he may not have come forward first, because that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But, I know it hasn't been authenticated yet, and I know even Van Jones.
CNN latched onto something here.
Van Jones said it, he said it could be if you believe the officer, then he could say, oh, I paused and he kept charging at me. And I'm sorry, I find that story so implausible. His friend and other witnesses all tell the same story, that the officer grabbed him and pulled him toward the car, that he was running away, and that he put his hands up. Obviously, that's anyway, I find it implausible that he rushed into the cop car, and then as he's running away and the cop's shooting, he turns around and runs toward the gunfire. I find it just completely... Yeah. Anyway, you have the
audio of the gunshots and the...
Okay, he's having a video. He's having a video chat that was recorded at the same time, allegedly.
A little bit of sexy chat, so...
Yes, it's a little incongruous, but here it is.
Yes.
You are pretty. You're so fine. Just going over some of your videos. How could I forget?
Wow, men are single-minded. You notice he does not even...
No.
It's not even a second of, hey, excuse me, what's that? I mean, I'm just saying, even when I'm on the phone, something's happening. I mean, that's happening? And he's like, okay. All right, so I don't know how you authenticate it or not, but I guess that's CNN's trying to confirm with the FBI that they've contacted them or they're analyzing it or whatever.
I mean, I guess they authenticate it by matching it with reports of gunshots in the area.
Right.
Calls to 911, I suppose, but...
Right. Forensic expert said he detected, as we just said, at least 10 gunshots. And that's why it's interesting. You were saying that autopsy results even... Not can be necessarily imprecise, but interpreted different ways. But I think the one I heard about, they said that there's at least 6 shots, so that means
a minimum of 6 shots.
Right.
Yeah.
A cluster of 6 followed by 4. I was very concerned about that pause because it's not just the number of gunshots, it's how they're fired, said the man's attorney, and that has a huge relevance on how this case might finally end up. The man, as we know, lives reportedly near obviously the site of the shooting. Speaking to a friend on a video chat. A very pretty friend who is very fine.
And who has some videos, apparently.
One can't help that one has some more questions about that aspect of it, but that's for another day.
That poor guy.
Difficult to prove from the audio why the pause took place or whose narrative it supports is what we were just talking about. It's the pause that gives most concern in a police shooting, especially with an unarmed victim, because at this point, Mr. Brown is defenseless. He has no weapon, said one of the attorneys. Again, to me, that feels true, that it could be significant, but Van Jones, I'm quoting from host of Crossfire, our friend of the Stephanie Miller Show.
Absolutely.
He said, to be fair, there could be other explanations for that pause. Maybe the officer will say, well, I fired, and he kept advancing, so I fired again. Witnesses and a friend of Officer Wilson, of course, have given conflicting accounts. Dorian Johnson, the friend who was with Brown at the time of the shooting, said the officer shot Brown once by the police car and again as he ran away. According to Johnson, Brown was struck in the back and turned around and put his arms up as the officer kept shooting. And again, the autopsy results certainly seem consistent with that.
Yes.
And by the way, this is all we've heard. Isn't this the friend that called the Dana Loesch show that's reportedly the friend of Darren Wilson? It seems like we have more than one witness that's supporting the other side of the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, of course,
and that friend that called the Dana Loesch show was never corroborated.
Right. Well, none of them were ever interviewed.
And so they were just messing with the jury pool here.
The friend of Wilson said Brown mocked the officer and charged at him before the shooting began. Again, I suppose seems really implausible to me that knowing you're unarmed that you would mock and charge at an officer with a gun who is and according to this story, you've already been shot several times and you're going to keep.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now the new reports, of course, all the right-wingers are all over. It's the friend. The reports say the friend had a criminal record that included lying to the police, and now they're saying, of course, he was lying. Mm-hmm. In 2011, Johnson was arrested and accused of theft and lying to police about his first name, age, and address. Johnson said, I see they bring up my past, my history, but it's not like a long rap sheet. This one incident shouldn't make me a bad person.
Yeah.
So there you go. They're going to say, see, it proves he was lying, and then you can go, well, it does not necessarily prove he was lying in this case. Right. Anyway, all right. So that's the latest on all that. The federal prosecution, the Justice Department. I was reading a whole piece on that. We'll talk about it next. What's a little depressing is it's really hard to prove in police shootings. The bar is very high.
Yeah.
I was reading back through some of the ones that we remember are so egregious, and some of them didn't get either charged or convicted. Yeah. And so we'll talk about all that. All right, so 18 minutes after the hour.
Is it time for us to have some sexy time?
You're so fine. Stop it, don't mock that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. 18, single-minded.
What?
Not paying attention to anything else. Yeah. Men, just one little head thinking. Nothing. 18 minutes after the hour, right back on the Stephanie Miller Show. It is the Stephanie Miller Show.
What?
Do not have Madonna arms. 23 minutes after the hour, 1-800-STEPH-1-2, the phone number. Paul in Seattle, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hey, Paul.
Oh, hey there.
Hello.
Chris, for you to say that, let's assume that this audio can be authenticated for the sake of discussion, otherwise nothing to talk about. But for you to say that it doesn't say very much, if this can be authenticated, this speaks volumes as to what happened.
Right, and I say it doesn't say very much if it can't be authenticated.
Okay.
How do you authenticate
Paul,
something like that?
I think what he means is, attorneys on both sides are saying it could support either narrative. I agree with you that I think it depends on what other evidence they find, don't you?
Well, look what the Ferguson Police Department. This is the one thing they've already been caught in a lie here, because what they said initially was all of the shell casings have been recovered. They didn't say how many. They just said all, which means they knew how many shots were fired before you can say all. Mm. But then they said 8 slugs were fired, or were recovered. But now we know 10 shots were fired if this is authenticated.
Right.
Well, that means 2 slugs are missing. They didn't say we recovered all shell casings and 2 slugs are missing. Now, the other thing is, if some of the first, here's the thing: either some of the first round of 6 missed, or all of the second round of 4 missed. Which means, what are you shooting at? The first round of 6 slugs hit Michael Brown's body, and he doesn't charge with a bullet in the top of his head. He's dead. And so it sounds to me like 3.5 seconds, which they say a man can cover 20 feet in 2 seconds. 3.5 seconds is enough time to cover 35 feet. That's 12 yards almost. So is he still coming 12 yards away? No. This cop looked, and he refocused, and he was shooting at Dorian Johnson. That's who he was shooting at.
Ooh.
That's what happened.
Wow. Here. Well, we had Lisa Bloom on, and I'm not an expert, but, Paul, when I look at the autopsy thing, because, of course, the right wing was like, there's no shots in his back. But the one shot there is consistent with it. He was running, or that his arms were up. Either way, right? It was either, hit from the back. I'm talking about the back of his arm. Or he had his arms up, because like you're saying, you wouldn't stand like this. You wouldn't stand with your arms,
And the other thing was that the one thing that Dorian Johnson said when he first was talking to CNN is he said, I ran and I told Michael to run too. And I thought, in my teenage years, I've run from the police a few times, and neither me or my friend ever had to tell the other one to run.
Right.
Because I think what happened was this is when Michael Brown turned around, and that's when Dorian Johnson said, no, run, because he didn't know that Michael had been hit, and that's why Michael turned around.
Yeah, yeah.
So he kept running, and then he said he hid behind a car. That's when he was under fire. And if they've got to find these other two slugs, those trajectories are significantly different than where Michael Brown was shot.
Yeah.
And you got to think, what were you shooting at?
Yeah. I mean, look, again, I've said over and over, of course, none of us know. Unfortunately, there's not a recording of what actually happened, but it doesn't seem counterintuitive to you. I mean, first of all, let's just say the part that I guess is not in dispute is that the cop said, get the on the sidewalk. So first of all, he starts, but what I'm saying is, if you're a kid and you're not armed and the cop's armed, you're going to rush in at him into the car? I mean, it just, I don't know, the whole story then from there that you're going to charge at someone shooting at you. It just, the whole thing just doesn't seem plausible to me. Does it to you?
No. And the other thing is if you start thinking about how could these 6 shots that hit Michael Brown, how out of this 10, 6, then 4, how do you figure which ones were which? And the thing is, it's either some of the first round missed or all of the second round missed, which means what kind of shot is that? What kind of cop can miss if the guy's that close and that much of a threat? How do you miss 4 times?
Yeah. Well, I think again, like you said, the significant thing I've heard people say too is obviously the shot on the top of his head. What's he 6? What,
6 tall. Yes.
6'2", 4", something like that. He's tall. And he's very tall. And so what I was saying is, obviously his head was down. He was clearly falling, right, Paul?
Correct. And so I mean, the first 6 are the ones that hit him. Then a 3.5 second pause. That's when the cops started shooting at Dorian Johnson.
Yeah, well, interesting, Paul. All right, thank you for that. The attorney for the man who recorded the Ferguson shots.
At the time, he didn't even realize the import of what he was hearing until afterwards, and it just happened to have captured 12 seconds of what transpired outside of his building.
Maybe I'm a little ADD, but I hear the slightest noise, and I interrupt a conversation. I'm just saying, men, very, very focused when they are... thinking in his head. I'm just saying. That was awfully loud, and he was not to be dissuaded.
You don't get helicopters over your house a lot, do you?
No, actually, I do.
Oh.
I do, actually, because,
those must bother you to no end.
What I'm saying is, that guy is single-minded. I'm just saying, the fact that there's not even a flinch of, I wonder what that is. Because he wanted to see. You know what I'm saying?
He was looking at the video.
He was focused. Okay. Here's the attorney again.
It's not just the number of gunshots, it's how they're fired. And that has a huge relevance on how this case might finally end up. You can analyze the information and take stock of what you hear and how important that is.
Yep. All right. More amateur analysis from us and you as we continue on the Stephanie Miller Show. Let me just wrap my Jessica Handy hands around my microphone.
Jessica Handy Tans?
I am
old.
You're supposed to say drunk.
Oh, okay.
Drunk on screwdrivers and old.
Okay.
All right. 34 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEP-1-2, the phone number, toll free from anywhere. Okay, so we've been talking about obviously so many issues with the Ferguson shooting, and we've been talking about militarization of the police and. I was saying part of this is like the police are now armed to the teeth because we're armed to the teeth because of our ridiculous gun culture. I think we were talking about statistics in, I believe, first of all, Japan, where police have killed 0.
Right.
0 civilians in the last, I don't know, whatever the studies were done. In the UK, how... 3. Right. How rare it is. But everyone's talking about this on social media. Talk about, how insane our gun culture has gotten. This... Child, 9-year-old girl.
Yes.
Firing an Uzi at an Arizona shooting range accidentally kills her instructor. A 9-year-old girl. You're going to give a 9-year-old girl an Uzi.
Because it was set on fully automatic. She fired it. The kickback sent her flying, sent the gun flying.
She's 9.
And bullets into the instructor's face.
A 9-year-old girl learning to fire a submachine gun. Anyone think there's anything wrong thus far in this? This is the first sentence of the story. Anybody? Bueller? No. Accidentally killed her instructor at a shooting range when the weapon recoiled over her shoulder. The instructor died at a hospital late Monday night after he was shot in the head. The website of Bullets and Burgers.
That's the name of the place where she was.
Shooting range where the accident says children between the ages of 8 and 17 can shoot a weapon if accompanied by a parent or guardian. Police identified the weapon as an Uzi, an Israeli-made submachine gun.
Who thinks it's a good idea to serve burgers at a shooting range? Because
what goes with burgers? Bullets.
You get greasy fingers when you eat burgers.
Yeah, it's America.
Having a greasy finger on a trigger.
I think you're missing the point, and that is America. Yeah.
You get cheese fries with that?
Cell phone video released by authorities shows the moments before the fatal shots were fired in the video. The instructor, the girl, are at an outdoor range. The wind blows a target in the distance. Vaca shows that's the instructor that was killed, shows the child how to hold the gun and then helps her establish her grip and her stance. She fires one round and dirt flies above the target. Vaca adjusts the Uzi, places his right hand on her back and his left under her right arm. She fires several rounds in rapid succession, and the gun kicks to the left as she loses control. The video ends before the fatal headshot. The girl, a tourist from the Northeast, is all they're saying. Let's see. Station spoke with the guy who owns Burgers and Bullets. We really don't know what happened. Our guys are trained to basically hover over people when they're shooting. If they're shooting right-handed, we have our right hand behind them ready to push the weapon out of the way. If they're left-handed, the same thing. Okay. Is there a precaution against a 9-year-old giving a 9-year-old a submachine gun?
Whatever happened to dolls and easy bake ovens?
Well,
maybe a spirograph.
I remember I've been to a shooting range once, many, many years ago. A friend talked me into it. I'm a grown woman, and it was not a submachine gun.
You should not have a gun.
I'm grown with Jessica Tandy hands.
And Madonna arms.
But I mean, and this is just a regular gun as far as I remember it. It was just a handgun or something, and I remember the kickback as being so, powerful that that it scared the bejesus out of me. Okay, so that happened in America. Let's go to Jerry in Scottsdale. You're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, twice a week. Wow, amazing. Listen, I've had guns my whole life, and an urban environment is not a place for a gun. And these cops that are shooting these people in all these various cities, there is just no way in the world any one of them is that accomplished of a marksman where they're going to hit that person if that's what their intent is 100% of the time. So where are all these other bullets going? I mean, this is insanity to be shooting them in a city environment. I've yet to hear.
In broad daylight, in a crowded neighborhood, right?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, honey. I was saying, here's the depressing thing. It just, where's this piece? I guess AP about federal prosecution's not easy in police shootings. I mean, and again, I guess we've said over and over again, somebody said on my Twitter feed, I'm not anti-police. My heart bleeds whenever the officer falls in the line of duty.
Right.
I'm against abuse of power, though. I'm against, police abuse of power. And so I get that they should have the benefit of the doubt. It's a dangerous job. It's difficult. But this is ridiculous, to me, how high the bar is. I'm reading as the Justice Department probes the police shooting of an unarmed 18-year-old in Missouri. History suggests there's no guarantee of criminal prosecution, let alone a conviction. Federal authorities, and this is what I think has caused all this unrest, is because that's the implication. They did it because you can get away with it. Because you get away with it. You can do it in broad daylight, leave a body there for 4 hours and not interview witnesses, and, To build a case, they would need to establish that the police officer, Darren Wilson, not only acted with excessive force, but also willfully violated Brown's constitutional rights. It's what they're saying, a difficult standard of proof, a challenge that has complicated the path in the past. And a lot of these ones we remember, I didn't even know this, federal prosecutors, for instance, declined to charge New York police officers who killed Sean Bell. Remember that one?
Yep.
50 shots. That was a 50-shot barrage hours before his 2006 wedding. The 4 New York officers who in 1991 fired 41 shots at Amadou Diallo, that one we all remember, an unarmed West African immigrant, after they said they mistook his wallet for a gun, were acquitted during a state trial and never faced federal prosecution for his killing. More recently, the Justice Department, remember the Miriam Carey, the woman who drove into a White House checkpoint?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then led police on a car chase. Accident, mistake, fear, negligence, and bad judgment do not establish a criminal prosecution, prosecutors wrote in explaining that decision. So, Paul Ginsberg.
Yeah.
Paul Ginsberg is the audio expert who talked about this latest recording of allegedly of the gunshots.
I hear 6 shots being fired in rapid succession, followed by a pause of about 3 seconds, and then there are, I believe, 4 more shots.
Okay, and here he is one more time, Paul
This
Ginsberg.
will test the credibility of the officer and whatever else is included in the official report as to how many shots were fired, what type of weapon was used, was it reloaded, and was it from the same gun.
And here we go again, where the most damning thing to me is, what do you mean report? There was no report. They didn't do a report till there was all this outcry, so this wasn't even worth. And now, like a lot of people have been saying, you have time to mold your whole story. Mm-hmm. You know, particularly if he would know if this is authentic, I assume, if he knows that's the number of shots or whatever, this recording, you have time to tailor your story even more. I was saying, in my complete unexpert opinion, but to me, the most significant thing is the wound in the back of the arm. Because that shows either running away or arms up, hands up.
You have fixated on that.
Thank you. I have.
Is it because of your Madonna arms?
Yes.
Well, something just struck me. This, we have to be careful and keep saying alleged because he could have been watching TV and these gunshots could have been on a TV station or something like that. You don't know.
Law and Order, something. True Detective, whatever.
Something.
Okay. Yeah. Al in Chicago, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Al.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good. Go ahead.
I got 3 quick points. One of them in Missouri, I think that was a case of 2 bullies that met at a block and one died. I really do.
Oh, you're talking about the officer and Michael Brown?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Now, something's good's going to come of it, but I still think that was 2 bullies that met each other at the wrong time.
What evidence do you have that Michael Brown was a bully?
Okay. The video of what happened at the store,
Mm-hmm.
even though the officer didn't know it, that still was 2 bullies.
You were talking about the convenience store tape. But
Right.
Did you see any bullying behavior on the videotape?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're calling it, allegedly a strong-arm robbery. But even that to me, but Al, why didn't they call 911, the store? I mean, it seems like there's some dispute as to what exactly happened there.
2, why do we keep thinking that police training will make them any different from the rest of society as far as how we look at each other? If the police training...
Well, their training is not to be hot-headed bullies. That doesn't mean some of them aren't.
Great. Wouldn't we all be doing it?
Well, I mean, no, but I think that this is why there are good cops, and I think there are cops that do it, because they're power mad. Yeah.
My thing on cops, there are good cops and there are people who join the police force. They're not the same thing, right? Number 3, shouldn't the focus really be on the cop in L.A. who beat a woman?
Yeah.
We're upset about a stupid football player that his woman was knocked out in the elevator. We didn't even see the punches, but we know he did it. But this cop pummeled a woman and I don't see anything.
On the side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah. Shouldn't we be outside at the police station at CHIPS, whatever they call it in L.A.? That's a bigger concern to me.
That was back only...
No, CHIPS are the highway patrol.
That was...
Yeah.
You're thinking
That's
back
not
of
the city of...
Punch and...
Yeah. Well, they still have CHIPS.
Right. But no one's called it CHIPS since that show was on the air. What's his name?
CHIPS.
Eric Estrada.
Yeah, and...
He of the giant...
Punch and John, yeah.
Right.
Nobody can remember the blonde guy's real name.
Whoever the blonde guy was. The
Wilcox,
guy with the,
Larry Wilcox.
There you go. The guy with the freaky teeth and the other guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony in Texas.
Freaky teeth?
Eric Estrada.
He had freaky teeth?
He's bitey. Anthony, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Ann.
Hi. I was just calling to give some information regarding the authentication of the audio with the gunshots.
Uh-huh.
A few things I think the agents will do is, for example, service provider, they're going to have the timestamp of when that individual was online. So that also will be something that the agents will do to help authenticate that the guy was actually online at that time.
Right.
Also, they're going to have the fact that that guy owns an account. So if that guy has an account, they're going to authenticate it. Okay, yes, it's just plausible that this individual has an account. And also...
Doesn't the timestamp have to do with him keeping the time on his computer, correct?
Well, yes, also, that's my next point.
Okay.
He'll also take his iPhone. I believe that he took the audio on. They'll take his iPhone. They'll give that to a forensic computer examiner. And he will also be able to find the file on there, the date and time, plus the fact that the individual was logged in to that account at that time. I mean, that's just one of the few things we're going to do aside from everything else.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's what I was saying, is I'm sure, the FBI is probably analyzing this now and trying to authenticate it or not. But we shall see. 46 minutes after the hour, right back on the Stephanie Miller Show. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 51 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEP-1-2, the phone number. Toll free from anywhere. Sometimes I have to ask you to repeat a headline several times so that I can, so that I may better absorb all the stupidity.
I read it for you 3 times this morning.
Okay.
Yes, GOP candidate in Colorado warns that Jared Police, because he is gay, will join ISIS in beheading Christians.
Okay. I got that pause there for people to wrap their brains around all that and to also share our thoughts.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Okay. So, he's a Tea Party guy. That'll come as a shock to many of you, I'm sure. The Tea Party Republican nominee for a Colorado House seat. Okay. Oh, he's a former Navy chaplain, Gordon Klingenschmidt. He changed it from Dingleberry. Klingenschmidt. Is that like Beetlejuice? Don't say it 3 times.
Klingenschmidt.
All right. Uh-oh. Now you did it. Wow. Okay. In other retro gay news, ESPN airs important update on Michael Sam's NFL showering habits.
Oh, my God.
Just like they do on every straight player of the NFL. Huh? During a recent SportsCenter report, Josina Anderson revealed she'd spoken to multiple Rams players who told her that Sam has not yet been spotted in the locker room showers. While one of the defensive tackle called Sam just one of the guys, another unnamed defensive player told Anderson that Sam is, quote, respecting our space by avoiding the showers when other players are present.
Oh, my God.
My God.
Breaking news,
yes,
all gay men aren't lustful monsters.
Oh, boy. Yeah, right. In good, happy, clappy gay news, a Reagan-appointed judge, blasted Indiana and Wisconsin gay marriage bans. Federal appeals judge bristled Tuesday. Bristled, I tell you. That's a legal term. Try to follow.
Bristled.
At arguments defending gay marriage bans in Indiana and Wisconsin, with one Republican appointee, Reagan appointed, comparing them to now defunct laws that once outlawed weddings between blacks and whites. Attorneys general in both states are trying to reinstate bans that were ruled unconstitutional in June. Gay marriage currently legal, for those of you keeping track, in 19 states as well as District of Columbia, as long as you don't shower together.
Of course.
And momentum building, of course, for more states to recognize it. Judge Richard Posner, that's the guy appointed by President Reagan, was dismissive when one assistant attorney repeatedly pointed to tradition as the underlying justification for banning gay marriage. It was tradition to not allow blacks and whites to marry, a tradition that got swept away, Posner said. Prohibition of same-sex marriage, he said, is a tradition of hate and savage discrimination. He frequently cut off the Indiana Solicitor General just moments into his presentation and kept asking him to answer his questions. At one point, Posner ran through a list of psychological strains of unmarried same-sex couples, including having to struggle to grasp why their schoolmates' parents were married and theirs weren't. What horrible stuff, he said. What benefits to society is barring gay marriage? How does it outweigh that kind of damage to children? The answer has to do with procreation, said the other. That moldy old argument?
Yeah.
To which we say, once again, what about straight couples that don't want to have kids or are infertile or whatever?
Or old people like you.
Old people with Jessica Tandy hands. There was some levity.
You're not squeezing out a kid.
No,
we know that much.
No. Well, as we know now, my vagina is freeze-dried from BioFreeze, which is like icy hot. It's a long story.
Good for you, Elsa.
Everything's just frozen in place. It's like when you freeze your gym membership. I'm just freezing that, thinking I might use it at a later time.
No, I think
it's not currently in use.
I think you're just going to let it go, let it go.
There was some levity as one of the attorneys struggled to offer a specific reason for how gay marriage bans benefit society. He suddenly noted a yellow courtroom light signaling his allotted time was up. The judge said, "It won't save you," prompting laughter in the court. Samuelson smiled and said it was worth a try. Yeah, nice try. Move along now into the dustbins of history, everybody. All right, Kevin in D.C., speaking of interracial marriage. Hello, Kevin. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm almost having an accident to you and your discussion of your
frozen vagina.
There's only one man that could thaw that now.
Oh, Lord, really?
He'll shoot the mastodons out of the way and other relics of the Ice Age.
I can say in my younger days, I have seen worse. Nothing stops a horny young man.
That's right. Okay. All right. Go ahead, my friend.
Oh, boy.
Shush.
You know, what you said actually about that court case you're just talking about and the firm Ferguson, it really lets me know that this stuff is taught. You know, that people, there's some. When I was 7 years old, I had the great fortune to travel to Africa, but I didn't want to go because at that point, all my knowledge of Africans was Tarzan movies and King Kong. So people with my shades, I mean, I had a lot of similarities. I was scared shitless until I went there and saw they weren't monsters. They weren't all the crap that I had been taught. And fortunately, that was nicked in the bud at 7. But I imagine if I had, like some of these teabaggers, if I had been taught something until adulthood, then that's why they're so crazy. They only see people that look like them. They're taught a lot of crap. I don't know what you can do. So if you're in a position as, like, say, a cop, and some black guy comes at you, who knows what's going through your mind? And I don't know what we can do with society to wipe this crap out. It's whatever group. It's my people. It's gays. It's whoever.
Yeah. Well, you know, here the good news is we have a lot more recording devices these days that are catching these things. The bad news is we have a lot of recording devices these days that are catching these things. So it's, you know, in terms of us looking at that and going, wow, have we made any progress? Right?
Yeah. You know, I don't know if this has always been going on and we're just catching it more. It makes me despair. But then I see the people of all races that are against this. I can only hope that
I am a happy clappy hope monger like you, and so I will say that there, as we said before, there were a lot of black and white people at the protests in Ferguson. You know, so
that's what I mean. Even I just say this really quick. Back in trade when I was really despairing there, and then this librarian I knew. I don't know her political persuasion, but she's very conservative. Not so much in her.
You're just saying that to make me jealous, and now I'm going to hang up on you because we're at a heartbreak. I love you. Right back on the Stephanie Miller Show. The Stephanie Miller Show. Coffee with sexy liberal Carlos Alves Rocky coming up. 1-800-STEP-1-2, the phone number. Toll free from anywhere. Yes, someone tweets.
Yeah, Deborah tweeted, the guy kept sexy talking during the gunfire. Even Cato Kalin put a call on hold to check if the banging on his wall was an earthquake.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that guy's single-mindedness, very, very impressive.
Should we play that again to let people know that?
Well, it has not been authenticated yet. Right. It is audio of a guy doing sexy time on a video chat that may have been recorded at the same time Michael Brown was shot, so could be any evidence.
You are pretty. You're so fine. Just going over some of your videos. How could I forget?
Okay.
Stephanie, you're so fine.
Thank you. I'm fairly certain you would, if there were gunshots right behind you, you probably would pause for a moment. Although, who knows with your unbelievable attraction to me. Okay. Particularly since we've just discovered that my vagina is an ice maker now. Let me explain. What's that sound? Okay. Because if you just tuned in last hour, I was explaining that listen, at least it has more of a use than it has previously. At least it can do something now. Okay, I hiked Mount Baldy here in L.A., which it was a very, very bad idea because I am
drunk
and old.
Old, yes.
Right,
okay.
112.
Yes.
And so I've been I used BioFreeze. It's like icy hot. It's a Bengay type situation. It's a spray, right? Because my quads, my thighs, and I suddenly realized that it had spread And Carlos will do a whole, I'm sure, rendition of Frozen, because whatever's happening down there is, Okay, the Iceman comments is my point. Okay. 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number, toll free from your words. I can make cocktails, which, by the way...
You could do your own ice bucket challenge.
Okay, well, it's for a good cause. Like we needed this study. Scientists confirm what all of us already knew. The best hangover cure is to never stop boozing.
Well, I knew that.
Thank you. I think, is this Gawker who brings us this? The hair of the dog could really be the best hangover cure. No kidding. Mm-hmm. According to a new book examining the science of alcohol.
Whatever.
Okay. It's proof, the science of booze.
It's a killjoy. The science of alcohol. Just drink it.
There is a theory that the hangover is actually the symptom of a very, very small amounts of methanol. The notion is if a hangover is methanol toxicity, if you're going to have another drink, the ethanol displaces the methanol. I don't know.
Whatever.
Anyone can. The enzyme something. Gawker writes, hey, scientists, catch the up, will you? Drunks like me and everybody else confirmed this theory a long time ago. And the hole who says things like nothing cures a hangover like a good run to sweat it out can take that somewhere else. The answer is booze. Always has been, always will be. I also like that we drunks now have science on our side. Before this, when a person starts drinking again right in the morning, others begin to judge you and your life choices. Not anymore. Science.
Science.
Science. All right. So lots of news. Oh, and including more details on this guy. Just because this is... This guy, and this guy, Gordon Klingenschmidt. GOP candidate warns gay Democratic U.S. congressman will join ISIS in beheading Christians. The Tea Party Republican nominee for Colorado State House seat is now under fire after sending supporters a letter claiming a gay Democratic U.S. congressman will join ISIS in beheading Christians, but not just in Syria, right here in America. Former Navy chaplain Gordon Klingenschmidt, which was changed from the original Dingleberry. Yes. Reportedly was involuntarily discharged, is running for Colorado State House despite his extremist anti-gay, anti-woman.
What was he involuntarily discharged for?
Doesn't say here.
That's burying the lead.
Republicans have nominated him as their candidate. He said Democrats like police. How do you say his name? Police.
Jared Police.
Right. We've had him on.
He's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Want to bankrupt Christians who refuse to worship and endorse his sodomy. Next, he'll join ISIS in beheading Christians, but not just in Syria, right here in America. Klingenschmidt isn't backing down, claiming some Democrats do not have a sense of humor and don't understand hyperbole.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I see. Oh, now I get it.
Someone just learned about hyperbole in English class.
Now it's funny.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, boy. Let's see here. Joe in Kansas City. Hi, Joe. Welcome. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Go ahead.
I'm glad that you mentioned Richard Posner. He is one of the best judges on the whole federal district. And it's too bad that the liberals would never let him be on the Supreme Court. He's a fantastic judge, and you could all learn a lot if you read a lot of his opinions, including his 1973 book about economic analysis of law.
So you agree with him on marriage equality, then?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Without a doubt.
I sense we shall part ways now, but go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. The whole Ferguson thing is just a whole other scripted thing.
It's a scripted thing, meaning what?
Which displays unbelievable racism by our media and by the American left.
Yeah. Tell Michael Brown's parents that this was all a scripted thing.
Tell the parents of the five black teenagers who were killed in Chicago the same weekend that it isn't a problem.
You're a whataboutist. So if there wasn't, I see.
The left thinks it's absolutely the worst thing in the world when a black person is killed by a white person.
No, a white person in power.
No, this is a police right.
Right. It's a white person in power.
This is one of the recent examples that of an unarmed black person being killed by a white police officer.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a black teenager, a young black adult, and you walk through the streets of East St. Louis,
you should expect to be shot.
Else. Yes.
By a cop? You should expect to be shot by a cop.
Okay, so getting killed by a cop is worse than getting killed by a gang.
Yes. Yes, because the cop has power. He is entrusted with power by society to keep the peace. He is not keeping the peace by shooting an unarmed kid.
Joe, let's go back to why is the media racist for reporting on obviously a lot of unrest over the fact that an unarmed black teenager was killed by a white cop? Well, why would that be racist in reporting that? Are they not supposed to report what's happening in Ferguson?
Well, they're not reporting. They give token reports to the thousands of deaths in these terrible neighborhoods where it's black on black crime and they don't really care about it. Yeah, they give token. Jesse Jackson and the other, race industry goes in for a token show, but then this happened.
Right, because it's a different situation, Joe. It's a completely different situation.
I agree.
That is why it's getting different coverage.
But here, I'm also old enough to remember the same way that this establishment acted with the apartheid in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time that was going on, the Hutus and the Tutsis in Burundi killed 2 million people at the same time.
Right, but that's not in America, and let's face it, the American media has never reported on stuff overseas as much. I don't know that that's race-related. They don't report. They've never reported on foreign stories as much as things here. I mean,
they were obsessed. They were obsessed with apartheid, just like they're obsessed. The media is a bunch of people. They just want, oh, gee, this is just like the '60s. Isn't this cool? No, it's not cool.
Nobody said this is cool.
If you care about the problems in the black community, you're going to focus on. Look, why aren't West Caribbean?
Joe, you're missing our point. This is a problem with power and abuse of power. This is not a racial thing, Joe. It's a power thing.
It is. I completely understand your point.
All right.
Completely out of perspective.
Okay, so why are you trying to shoehorn?
You don't think the media will report on if a black cop shot an unarmed white kid to death in broad daylight?
And left his body there for 4 hours?
Well, there certainly wouldn't be weeks of protest and everybody acting like it.
How do you know?
I think there might be.
Because it's happened.
It hasn't. Where is that happened?
The media's racist because they don't report on the Hutus and the Tutsis enough. Oh,
yes. Race is an issue with this. However, this is more about a power thing.
Yes, exactly. All right. It's a whataboutism. What about how come they didn't report on this guy in Chicago that did the thing to the other guy?
He's trying to shoehorn, gang violence into this situation, and they're not comparable.
Myrna in Albuquerque, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hello, Myrna.
Hi, good morning. Oh, am I hopping mad after listening to that?
Yeah.
My God, first of all, it was a middle-class neighborhood. Oh, it's wrong on so many levels.
Right.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I was listening to the Michael Sam thing before I get to my point about police violence because Albuquerque was just the site of a DOJ investigation into shooting of unarmed, the violence endemic in the police force.
Yeah.
But when I think about what was said about Michael Sam, I think it's the limbo rock bar of journalism. How low can you go? Really, how many horrible things you think to report about? But the point I wanted to make is when we militarize the police force, we sort of shift the mission from protect and serve to us against them, because that's really what the military is all about. And if you recruit people from the military, or if you have that kind of worldview, you tend to draw to you the kinds of people who have grudges, who are racist, who will use the shield as a way to say, now I'm going to get those people I don't like.
Yeah.
And Frontline had a piece on last night about domestic violence in the police force and how cops will murder their significant others. There was a woman who was a police officer who was married to a cop, and she left because of the domestic violence. So just the way that the spotlight is being shown on the church and the pedophiles that inhabit it, it doesn't take very many, but it's an endemic in the church. The same spotlight, the media would do well to focus on that, to focus on where are they recruiting, who are they recruiting. I know they do psychological screenings, but maybe it's not important. Maybe they don't do it in depth enough. And they should probably not recruit from the military.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Listen, your points are taken. You know, it's interesting. I was talking about a cop I love, ex-cop.
That you have loved.
Like that.
Yes,
entirely.
Like that.
Anyway.
See, whenever there was something going on his front seat.
Okay, listen. Stop trying to take a beautiful story and ruin it like you do with everything. My point is, no, I mean, this is a thing like in any profession, like in any race. Of course, there are good people and there are dirtbags. Mm-hmm. And this friend of mine happens to be one of the best men I know. He's a former LAPD, but he has helped me a lot in my life. And I went to his 60th birthday party last weekend, and I gave him a very special bottle of wine. He called yesterday. We're going to share it together because it was given to me by my friend Jimmy, who died recently. And you know what? It's those kind of connections with people. It's like you said, when Ron Johnson and the other cops came in and started walking among people and talking to them like people and answering questions, and when he got up and spoke about his experience and his black son, that's people talking like people and connecting. And I think that's the only way we move forward.
And the same thing in radio. There are good people in radio, and there are...
there's a lot of dirtbags. It's lousy with dirtbags, mostly. 19 minutes after the hour, right back on the Stephanie Miller. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it, 24 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number, toll free from anywhere. Sexy liberal Carlos out of Rocky on his way in for Coffee with Carlos. Oh, later today, Whore Hike with May Lee, and then she will join us live in studio on Friday.
And maybe her legs won't be as sore as yours.
Well, hers are probably sore for different reasons, 4 reasons.
Because she's
Look, I have the text. We do the whore text back and forth. Whore. Hike. Yes, whore. What time? Whore. Okay, so the whore will be here on Friday.
Great.
And the slightly trollopy Jackie Shetner tomorrow.
She only wears hot pants. That's it.
All right. Oh, and I did get a text back from Alice and Janney. Woohoo! See? Told you.
What's your name for her?
Bag. As in bag of Emmys. It's like, good job, Bag. The bag just got bigger. And I was telling her how gorgeous we were all saying she looked.
Yes,
at the Emmys.
She looked amazing.
We got to get her in here, although I don't think she gets up at this hour.
Would you?
I could lure her dogs in, though. Her dogs love Max and Fred. Anyway, so yes, congratulations. Did you know this? As a fun fact, she's the first woman to ever have won 2 Emmys in a single year. She won for Masters of Sex and for Mom.
That's right.
The sitcom.
And I love her voice work for Kaiser Permanente.
I will let her know.
Thrive. The way she says, thrive.
I ran into someone once that was like, I love her on Masters of Sex. She was naked, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll tell her you enjoyed that. All right, 1-800.
Kathy Bates, also an Emmy winner, was also naked in a movie.
All right. 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number, toll free from anywhere. Ron in El Paso. Sorry, that's where I was. Ron, go ahead.
Hello. Good morning to you, Steph.
Hi.
You know, the thing that worries me even more than the police is these wannabe cops that are armed. Now, maybe I just live in a backward state of Texas, but, you know, we have people at the bus stop that are actually armed, and I wonder if they want to shoot a jaywalker or something along the line. I stopped taking a bus, so maybe it's changed.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's what we said about George Zimmerman. You know, it's, you know, to me, it's like stand your ground as the kill your only witness law. And I don't know, you know, it's interesting. Again, we may all have biases or our opinions on what happened in Ferguson, but when I hear this alleged, you know, tape of gunshots, you know, to me, that could be the same thing, kill your only witness. You know, when the pause to me would say that he's already shot him how many times? That he knows at this point the kid is unarmed, you know. To me, it's like, was he finishing the job? I mean, again, you can go, you don't know, but we'll see what other evidence comes out, I guess.
Exactly. And, you know, when we talk about militarizing the police department, we got to understand that a lot of the vets, and 99% of them are great. You know, our hearts go out to them and everything. But that 1% that was trained to kill are now part of a lot of police departments. And I wonder why police departments are still continuing to put them as priority coming into the police force.
Yeah. I think it's all part and parcel. It's like I've said, this insanely armed society we have that includes this 9-year-old girl with an Uzi at a shooting range that shot the instructor to death because of the kickback, because she's 9 and she shouldn't be shooting an Uzi. Let's hear it for the boy, Bill Gates. donated $1 million to gun control campaign. Just a teensy tiny sliver of common sense in our gun laws.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Washington State's Initiative 594, which seeks to close loopholes in background check for gun purchases, just got some major support, $1 million from Bill Gates, also $500,000 from Paul Allen, former Microsoft co-founder, and LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, also formerly Microsoft, gave $580,000. Since we're all in a giving mood, there's a donate button at StephanieMiller.com for people that would like some sort of gun control, fine Americans that would like some sort of progressive programming to still exist and like to have Jim Ward back full time.
I think it's interesting that a company that puts out a lot of first-person shooter games is so against, proliferation of guns.
Who cares if it's guilt money? We'll take it.
Okay.
All right, let me do a quick one here. Jessica in Cincinnati, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Go.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Jess. Go ahead.
The whole propaganda and race, to a certain extent, yeah, the media is propagandizing it because that's all Fox News does. That's all Fox News is. It's propaganda. Folks basically, are reporting on things going on in Ferguson, have not even been in Ferguson, but you're reporting on what's going on in Ferguson.
Right, or only having, they seem to only be representing the police officer's side. 29 minutes after the hour, right back on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Stephanie Miller.
Do you have any red wine? I mean, I have red wine. Yeah, like 2,000 bottles.
It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it, 34 minutes after the hour. All right, Sean Pierce, Randy Rhodes' former producer, sends a correction. He says that Stockard Channing also won 2 Emmys in a single year. I don't know. In
2002.
I have to check that because in the LA Times it said Allison Janney is the first woman to win 2 Emmys in a single year.
Stockard Channing won 2 Emmys in 2002, one for The West Wing and one for the Matthew Shepard TV movie.
All right. Well, the whole point is everything involving West Wing is awesome. Stockard Channing, Allison Janney, and Melissa Fitzgerald, friend of the Stephanie Miller Show.
And now the gamers have emerged from their mom's basements to bash me about my Microsoft joke.
You're right, because you're a hole. We can all agree on that.
Go back to your mom's basements.
Oh, good. Have fun on Twitter. I'm going to stay off. I'm going to stay off now. With my Jessica Tandy hands.
Yes, and your Madonna arms.
Okay, go ahead. Play Audra's tribute to me again. By the way, they are not Jessica Tandy's actual hands. I am just old and veiny.
You have a gel missing, and you're showing it. Oh, God.
Why? Because it's fun.
Steph's got a radio show.
Right? Yes, I do.
She's got a bronze ass surprise.
I'm getting a pedicure today in a minute.
Her hands are
You need one.
cold. That's because she's got Jessica Tandy's hands. She'll turn it on and on. Without fancy rhymes. She's pure as LA snow. She's got Jessica Tandy's hands. Ow. Owie.
Ow. All right.
Hey.
Thanks, girls. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Audra. Thanks, Kate. In Minneapolis, you precious misses. All right, and if you've just tuned in, my vagina is an ice maker. I'll explain that story again later. I was using BioFreeze. I was using BioFreeze because my quads are still sore from taking too long a hike because I'm 1,000 years old. Okay, so whatever. Something's happening down there that's all... Carlos will sing Let It Go later from Frozen. He maybe he voiced some of those, like the Mastodon and Ice Age or one of those movies. He probably did.
He probably did.
Okay.
I'm sure he was involved with that.
I'm sure one of the characters he's voiced will have some thoughts about my Frozen hinterlands.
You're an ice maker down there now. You can do your own ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Wait till I stop talking before you... Okay. Sarah in Wisconsin, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
It's Carol.
Okay.
Hi, Carol.
All right. Well, Travis is drunk because I didn't make an ice and flirtinis all morning.
But I love the name Sarah. But anyways, I'm in Wisconsin. I've been with my partner for 30 years.
Yay.
Yeah. And we have one of the most restrictive anti-gay legislation on the books. We can't, my partner and I wanted to get married like in another state, but if we were to do that and come back to the state of Wisconsin, we face a $10,000 fine and 9 months in jail.
Oy.
So I don't see how my marriage can adversely affect a straight marriage. I love her dearly. I'm very devoted to her.
Aww.
Thank goodness for that Judge Posner that you reported on, appointed by President Reagan, who's dismissive.
Yeah, it's time to sweep.
It's tradition.
Yeah, it's time to sweep these.
Marriage.
Leave it to gays to bring out the show tunes.
Not usually the leses.
I know, right?
Yeah, really.
But it is. It's time to sweep these laws into the dustbins of history. It really is. You know, it is time.
Oh, it's way overdue. I mean, if you listen to the voters that approved this constitutional amendment banning gay marriage, I mean, we'd still have like Jim Crow laws on the books.
Yep.
If you listen to the voters.
And congratulations to you and your wife. That's what I vote for myself. I Thank you. All right, I took a bike ride yesterday, by the way, on the LA River, which it's not really a river, it's kind of like a cement ditch.
Well, no, they're restoring it. It actually looks great in some parts.
In some parts.
Yes, but not in all parts.
Right, but I was riding there with my frozen vagina yesterday, and I did get a little peek into my future. There was a homeless woman, sadly, but she was using a push broom on part of well, it's not really a river, it's just a little bit of water, but she was sweeping the water with a push broom in her little... That's where I may end up soon. The radio continues the way, because Rush Limbaugh's bloated carcass is pulling down the whole radio business with him, and
yes,
and that's where me and my
frozen
vagina may end up.
Is he one of the...
Is with a push broom on the LA River.
You know, the LA River is where they did...
I will visit you in the van you live in down by the river, since I've never really paid you much.
And then maybe we could drag race in the LA River, because that's where they did that scene from Grease.
Oh, boy. I hope everybody's enjoying my breakdown before vacation week that I normally have. All right. We are on vacation next week. Great best ofs, by the way. All week. If you haven't heard it, it's new to you.
That's right.
Okay. This latest ISIS stuff. Did you hear this? ISIS demands $6.6 million ransom for 26-year-old American woman. A third American hostage held by ISIS has been identified as a 26-year-old American woman who was doing humanitarian relief work in Syria. They are demanding $6.6 million in the release of U.S. prisoners for the life of the young woman. The family has requested she not be identified. She's the third of 4 Americans who are known to be held by ISIS. Obviously, James Foley, that awful video, was executed last week. Another writer, Stephen Sotloff, was seen alive but under duress. Remember, in the same footage. In addition to the multi-million-dollar ransom, they've demanded the U.S. release Afia Siddiqui, I don't know if I'm saying that right, an MIT-trained neuroscientist who was convicted by the U.S. in 2010 of trying to kill U.S. officials 2 years before. His family, interestingly, spoke out through supporters to say they were very distraught that his name was invoked with the ransom request and sought to distance themselves from ISIS, which, as is everybody at this point, including Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
The president talking about ISIS yesterday.
Justice will be done. We have proved time and time again we will do what's necessary to capture those who harm Americans. And we'll continue to take direct action where needed to protect our people and to defend our homeland.
The president, one more time.
America does not forget. Our reach is long. We are patient. Justice will be done. We have proved time and time again we will do what's necessary to capture those who harm Americans, to go after those who harm Americans. And we'll continue to take direct action where needed to protect our people.
He has approved U.S. military surveillance flights over Syria to track ISIS. U.S. obviously not made any decision on expanding its air offensive against ISIS. Our military action in Iraq has to be part of a broader strategy, the president said, to protect our people and support our partners to take the fight to ISIL. He did say history teaches us the dangers of overreaching and spreading ourselves too thin and trying to go it alone without international support or rushing into military ventures without thinking through the consequences. John McCain.
Yeah.
Anyway, just really disturbing. He also went on to say even countries that criticize us when the chips are down, they know who to call. I wish we could get just a little tiny bit of support from our own people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham on whatever it is the president decides to do. Now there's going to be dispute on whether he needs to, get Congress's formal okay. President Obama unlikely to ask for a formal green light to expand the air war against ISIS, because this like on cue. They will be on the Sunday shows, even though they're saying he needs to do more and he needs to do this. If he does that, then they'll say he did it wrong, right? And he did it without asking us, or he did it blah 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 blah. The current military action that has been ordered in Iraq is vested in the powers of the commander-in-chief, said a White House spokesman. Our commitment to coordinating with Congress as we deploy that power. So this is just right. As Mei Lee's mom would say. Exactly.
We'll hear that on Friday.
Yes. But until now, we have Pocket May's mom. Steve in Connecticut, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Steve.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to that caller a few calls back about, he was saying about this whole thing with Ferguson as a racial thing, and I really agree with Chris. It's more of about a power thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We have a cop in Enfield. If you go to like the Harper Current online, you'll see it. He's had like over 14 abuse complaints in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't get his point. Are they saying if let's say a black police officer gunned down an unarmed white teenager? Really? You don't think there'd be media coverage of that as well?
Well, exactly, and in this case, this guy's like an equal opportunity user. No, it didn't matter what race you were; he's just beating the hell out of people left and right. So I think it's more of an abuse thing that certain people shouldn't just be police officers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's for damn Skippy. William and Ferguson, or not in Ferguson, in Texas.
About Ferguson.
About Ferguson. Hello, William.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hi.
First of all, thanks for your show. It's a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
But what I wanted to say was, I think would be a solution in the long term for this, as if there was some kind of federalization of the education system like you see in the European countries. And my reasoning is, when the equal happened and they started busing minorities into white districts, you started to see white flight to suburban enclaves. They took those tax dollars with them, and that cored out the tax base for now the schools in minority areas. If there was a way to collect all that tax money into one big pot and then smooth out how the money gets spent, you get better educational opportunities for minorities, which lifts them out of poverty, which helps value their community. And I don't think you see more opportunity, you see more engagement in society, and then you see less situations where you have a white power structure imposed on a minority community.
Well, people, okay, yeah, we got to break here, but people need to get out and vote, and
yes,
and I'm glad they are setting up. The more places, the better. If they're setting up voting, registration stuff in Ferguson. Good.
Absolutely.
45 minutes after the hour, I see a Coffee with Carlos Al's Rocky car.
What? No way.
Yeah.
Shut up. Get out.
Great. On the Stephanie Miller Show. 50 minutes. Getting character. 50 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number. What? Look who's here. Oh, my God.
That's good coffee.
I take it back, like my man.
Coffee with Carlos Al's Rocky.
Have a Zimbabwe latte. I'll have a Kenya cappuccino.
Jim never has a second cup of coffee. Martin grown coffee.
Carlos Al's Rocky.
I was going to make espresso. Handpicked by Juan Valdez. Coffee with good to the last drop.
Hello.
Yes, don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore.
He's playing one of the animated characters in My Frozen Vagina.
That's right.
Did you hear the story?
Yeah.
Because it's a vaginal version of Frozen now. I hiked Mount Baldy on Saturday.
Elsa in there?
I call her Elsa now.
I hiked Mount Baldy, which is not advised for someone that is 147 years old like I am. So it was 6 hours. It's 10,000 foot elevation. So I've been unable to really walk in the last few.
Drink.
So I've been that I'm taking care of.
It's almost like you had a female vasectomy. You got to sit on a pack of peas.
Oh, I haven't tried that. But I've been taking Epsom salt baths every 30 to 40 seconds, and also
Mama, change Mama's Epsom salt.
I had an accident in my Epsom salt bath.
Go get one of them salt licks from the cow yard.
Oh, sorry, Betsy. Stephanie.
Anyway, I used the main problem is my thighs, my quads from the descent, and so I used a biofreeze, which is like icy hot, and it was a spray. But something went awry down there, and
you're supposed to spray it downwind.
Yeah, you got.
I have freeze dried my vagina.
Oh boy.
It is a frozen tundra down there. It is just a...
Green Bay Packers. Bart Starr and the Green Bay Packers had one last chance for glory.
It's like Lillehammer down there.
It is Lillehammer.
Little Peggy Fleming.
The ice is gonna break.
It's Steffi on ice.
That was a dead zone drop.
That was one of my favorite movies ever.
The ice is gonna break.
Your kids are playing hockey.
I'm pretty sure I was taking a look, and someone was skating, and I saw Nicole Kidman under the ice.
Yes. And what's her name?
Right.
We have discovered a frozen Australopithecus.
Yep.
Underneath Stephanie's crotch area. Yeah, you always have to cover that up like you're like you're staining furniture. You always got to put a pad down there.
You got to put up some frog tape.
Yep. Yeah. I ran down the stairs this morning. What happened? The Zamboni fell out.
Yeah.
It was very sad. I don't know what is happening down there, but it is.
All right, Ted.
I'm saying it's like freezing a gym membership. So because I assume I'll use it at some point later, but it's right now. It's
no.
Who knows? Maybe a buffalo saber might fall out.
Right. What with the animated? You would know because you have to see you either voice every animated character or you have to take your kids to them.
Oh.
What's the ice? What was the Ice Age one with the mastodons and stuff?
Oh, that was Ice Age.
Ice Age.
And
there you go.
Were you in that?
And then John Language, I'm playing that guy. No, I'm not, but I'm in Book of Life coming out Halloween. My daughter and wife, a.k.a. wife, my daughter and my wife are going to see the Frozen sing-along at the El Capitan this morning.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, because they haven't sang enough.
And you're at your own version of a Frozen sing-along.
That's why there was a crowd outside of the El Capitan this morning when I drove by.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, crowd of kids. Yeah. Because they're going to have a live Elsa and a live Anna there. Real princes.
Okay.
Maybe you could go there with your frozen gooch and go, look what Elsa did to me. Sorcerer.
Excuse me? My what?
Frozen gooch?
All right, okay. Anyway, Carlos... Welcome.
You asked again. You asked him to repeat it, and then you seemed surprised that he repeated it.
Yeah. What was that? Like a dog.
It's like that time that...
I'm a dog. You threw a stick. I ran after it. What do you want?
Listen, have we not covered that I'm 147? I clearly can't hear. In addition... Right.
Yeah. There was the one time back on the old station where a caller calls in. She answers, hello, you're on the air. And the caller says, Stephanie Miller, you're a C word.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I dutifully dumped it, as a good board op should.
Right.
And then
you called me that yourself.
And then you went ahead and said, what did you say?
Ah.
And then he repeated
to which he helpfully repeated.
And by yes.
Can I say
and at that time, I have nothing to dump.
No, don't do it. I can see what you're doing. Don't do it.
See you next. Tuesday. I can say that, right? See you next.
Okay.
No, well, if you're from Spain, it says see you next Thursday because they have the diphthong.
Oh, yes.
So spell it out.
Like
I just think that's a funny joke.
Ibiza.
All right.
Barcelona.
Him diphthong and dip news. Yeah. Mitch McConnell says he prays for the health of 5 Supreme Court justices?
Yes. There are 9 of them.
What does he pray for the
I think he means Ginsburg, Sotomayor, Hagan, Kennedy, and...
That was nice. It's nice.
Yes, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was speaking behind what he thought were closed doors at the Koch brothers retreat for the ultra-rich last June, said, the best Supreme Court in anybody's memory. I'm really proud of this Supreme Court. It's only 5-4, and I pray for the health of the 5.
Oh, boy, the rest can die and live inside my chin.
I don't think there would be enough oxygen in his chin.
Yeah, it's a big old bulbous thing. It's like one of those toads.
Yeah. No, actually, I've gotten this wrong before. He has no lips. He has an excess of chins.
He has a receded chin.
Right.
He has an underbite.
He has a pouch. When he's mating, it bellows out. And it's like those things from War of the Worlds that can store people in there.
We don't know. The Stephanie Miller Show does not know if that is true. We could ask Elaine Chao whether that is true.
What did I say?
That when he's mating, his neck bellows out.
It bellows out.
And if it does not, we apologize to Mrs. McConnell.
Sorry.
Sue in Rockville, you're on with Carlos. Hello, Sue.
Hey, good morning. Two quick things. Carlos.
Good morning.
Only person funnier than you is severely sleep deprived you.
Yes.
Last week, you were so funny that I had to stop doing everything else and just listen and cry.
Yes. Oh, good. Well, I'll make sure I get less sleep more and more.
Yes.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Plus, Let It Go in Spanish is very nice to hear, too.
Yeah. It is just a barrage. A lot of it, you have to listen back to the podcast because you're like, did he say that? Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes.
But
did he go that dark? Yes, he did.
Oh, yes, he did.
My darling Stephanie, not that I am unsympathetic to your pain
Yes.
as a fellow female who's much older than you are, but until you have spent 2 consecutive 10-hour-plus days schlepping 2 bar babies through Universal Orlando in 95-degree heat with 100% humidity, all I can say to you is suck up your pain, honey.
Thank God my lady parts are frozen. I have to deal with that mess.
I need a large Coke for my lap. Lots of ice.
58 minutes after the hour. More Coffee with Carlos on the Stephanie Miller Show. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. The theme of today's show, Frozen. Both the musical and my lady parts, as I sprayed biofreeze entirely.
Do you want to build a snow crotch?
Scott in Madison says, Steph, I have a 5-year-old daughter, therefore I've memorized the soundtrack to Frozen. Some of the other songs you might appreciate apply to your Frozen lady parts. For the first time in forever, Fixer-Upper and Conceal, Don't Feel. All right.
It's a bit of a fixer-upper.
You just showed me an adorable video of...
Young crotches are better than old crotches. It's true.
Is that both your daughters watching Frozen about a foot from the television?
No, that's my daughter and her 2 friends. A foot from the television singing Do You Want to Build a Snowman? In their princess dresses right after their pool party.
Carlos is here, live from Vagina Island.
I would expect you on a shooting range just to undo all of that.
Damn girl.
Yes.
Want to go hunting with Dick Cheney now? Shoot me in the face.
Wow. Yes, we covered this tragic story earlier. 9-year-old girl with an Uzi at a shooting range shot the instructor to death because of the kickback because she's
Gun
9.
went wild and bullets went into the instructor's face.
That would not happen at the range where my father-in-law shoots. I guarantee that. There's not that kind of lack of safety protocol.
Well, the parents are completely culpable in this for putting their daughter in that situation.
Yes.
But
For
the
what
range
reason? Yes.
should be culpable for this as well because they allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
For what reason would you want to train a 9-year-old girl to use an Uzi?
Why, the zombie apocalypse, of course.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for that. Oh, by the way, this just in, ESPN has apologized for reporting on Michael Sam's showering
habits.
Is
it back to front to back? How does it go? What do you mean? What are showering habits?
They were quoting one unnamed player that said, oh, yes, he's staying clear of the shower out of respect for the... What? The rest of us are... Something...
Oh, Michael Sam is staying clear of the shower.
Yes.
Oh, my God. We cannot let the blood of this man touch the blood of other people.
This just in, ESPN discovers that gays aren't all lustful monsters every second of the day.
They are at my health club. They're just looking at me.
Yes, this just in.
They're eyeing me up and down like a piece of meat. Like that mixed meat at a Greek restaurant that they shave off the thing and put it on like a gyro meat. That's how they look at me, like a gyro.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Another big gay news. Jodie Foster made her first married public appearance with her wife, Alexandra Hedison, at the Emmys.
Yeah.
They both look beautiful, long black gowns. She's just rubbing it in ever since our breakup.
Oh.
I've never met Jodie Foster. However, we did enjoy a spate of publicity at the Democratic National Convention when it was reported that we were dating.
Did you photobomb her?
And that she had also gotten us better hotel rooms at the DNC.
Oh.
I don't know if 30 miles away from the convention center is better hotel rooms.
I rode that puppy for a while. I started every sentence with Jodie Foster, who I'm dating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who I'm dating.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, she...
Well,
Hedison, her wife, was previously romantically linked to Ellen DeGeneres prior to her marriage, of course, with Ross. I don't know. I guess to get in the power lesbian circles, you'd have to leave your house. Apparently, so I don't know, but apparently that's...
You can order takeout.
That's apparently what led to my breakup with Jodie Foster, who I was dating.
You can still go and scoop up Anne Heche for a couple of months.
Before the spaceship comes and picks her back up again.
Isn't there Isn't there a lesbian version of Grindr or something that you could order takeout?
How would I have any idea? I just stay
Grindr?
here with my Jessica Tandy hands and my frozen hoo-ha.
Jessica Tandy.
And your Madonna arms.
You know how I bet. You know what would not be good up my frozen hoo-ha?
What?
Frozen giblets.
Frozen giblets. Yeah, you don't want to sit on those.
Right?
Look, I had some eggs.
My favorite.
No chance that I am going to roll around naked in creamed corn with a bunch of drunken yahoos trying to stick niblets up my hoo-ha.
I bet you she had a frozen hoo-ha.
That's like a TV dinner up there.
Excuse me?
It's ready-made and frozen.
All right. All right. Speaking of food, boycott Burger King.
That's right. No more Whoppers.
Yeah, this is shady, what they're doing.
Shady. Burger King getting whopped over its plan to avoid U.S. taxes by fleeing to Canada. What's that all about? People flooded the Facebook page of Burger King on Monday with threats of a boycott after the company announced talks to merge with Canadian coffee and donut chain Tim Hortons. The combined company would be headquartered in Canada. Burger King, of course, the latest American company to attempt a so-called tax inversion, where a bigger U.S. company buys a smaller foreign firm with a lower tax rate, renounces its U.S. corporate citizenship, and then relocates in the other nation. Politicians and pundits have said the move amounts to little more than an unpatriotic ploy to avoid paying taxes.
That's right. Man, this country's so confusing. You got the Mexicans coming one way and the corporation going back the other way.
Earlier this month, you remember the drugstore giant Walgreens ditched its plan to reincorporate in low-tax Switzerland after facing intense pressure from politicians and protesters. On almost every street corner, there's an alternative fast food restaurant where consumers can buy food once they learn what Burger King is doing, said the co-director of Campaign for America's Future. You don't even have to announce a boycott to let them know they're going to lose business. Senator Sanders, our good friend.
To my mind, not only is this tax inversion an outrage, we are losing now about $100 billion in federal revenue every year because many of these large corporations are putting their money into the Cayman Islands and Bermuda and other tax havens. 1 out of 4 large profitable corporations today, Jake, pay 0 in federal income taxes. So we need real tax reform.
Yeah, where their money can spoon with Mitt Romney's money.
It's just a building, right, in Cayman Islands. It's like a 6-story building with just a bunch of P.O. boxes.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's where Mitt Romney has his money.
But Burger King is claiming that their operations will still be out of Miami, but that's just kind of like a figurehead thing.
Yeah. Their corporate taxes will go to Canada.
You know who's currently ruining America?
Who?
Andre Perry.
And he's with?
He lives in the Bronx. He said his hankering for Whoppers brings him to Burger King about 3 times a week. The news that they might be trying to lower their tax rate would not stop him from eating there. He said, it's not hurting my pocket. See, and Bernie Sanders just explained why it is. That's the problem. People go, oh, what do I care, you know?
No, I care.
And Bernie Sanders talked about it dries up, streams of funding for education, infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Our friend Sherrod Brown said Burger King's decision to abandon the U.S. means consumers should turn to Wendy's or White Castle. Burger King has always said, have it your way. Well, my way is to support 2 Ohio companies that haven't abandoned their country or their customers. Good for you.
Well, if the actual restaurants and the food left the country, it would benefit the country because we wouldn't be eating that unhealthy food. But the food will remain while they pay no taxes.
Although I do enjoy a good croissant sandwich in the morning.
I do like the Burger King chicken sandwich with little barbecue sauce and mustard. Hello. But I will not enjoy it. I will never eat there. I'm going to my Chipotle every time.
In and out. That's what a hamburger's all about, in my opinion.
Chipotle's very good, though.
All right. Bernie Sanders again.
In 1952, corporations contributed about 32% of the tax revenue of the federal government. Today, that number is less than 10%. So when you wonder why we have a large deficit and a large national debt, one of the reasons is that corporate tax revenues and the percentage of revenues that are coming into the federal government is much, much lower than it used to be.
And the other is them Hondurans coming over to steal our job. I'm just covering Fox.
I
Fox
say
is you.
Burger King can go themselves.
Hey, would you like a Whopper with maple leaf sauce?
Mike in Pennsylvania, you're on with Carlos. Hey, Mike. Hello. Hi.
Hey, it's amazing when these guys call in and talk about, that guy knew exactly how many killings happened in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they're concerned, but they anything about it or calls representatives or their representatives and try to help with investment. All that jumped in my head was a Dave Chappelle show when he said he got into a limousine, and as he was riding, he kind of perked up because he kept seeing gun store, liquor store, gun store, gun store, liquor store, pawn shop, gun store, and he knew he was in the black community, you know. And it's like, you know, where's the investment, you know, from banks, from the federal government to come in and inspire? Because, like I said before on another show, I said when I look at black drug dealers, I look at frustrated black entrepreneurs that can't get financing for legitimate stuff, and it's almost like that guy hasn't even seen The Godfather, where you know Italians are killing Italians and they glorifying it by making 10 different Godfather movies, you know, and one killing another, you know, Irish killing Irish with the gangs of New York and all that. I mean, it's just, and it always comes back to, you know, there was 4 killings the same week.
Yeah,
you know,
they're what about us? That's what we always say.
Exactly.
What about this other
Yeah, the
time?
drive-bys were the old mafia guys on the sides of cars.
By the way, well, we hear all the time, Chicago's the murder capital of the world. It's not even close to the murder capital of the U.S. I think it's Flint, Michigan is actually #1, and Chicago's actually farther. I forget exactly the number, but
As I told you, I was reading that book, Detroit, Autopsy of an American City, which is very good. Former New York Times columnist. It's really good about what happened in Flint. It was a vacuum when all the companies just left. And they had all these factories with people with nowhere to go and no job possibilities. I think it's right. Yeah, obviously Magic Johnson privately has infused neighborhoods into some money into the neighborhoods.
That's not what Donald Sterling said.
No.
Well, the blacks, they come to my game. I don't know. They just want to sit there. They're selling drugs and hoopers and they're doing.
By the way, we've been waiting for you because V.
drink.
Stiviano says that Donald Sterling is gay and she was his beard. Did you hear that?
Oh, come on. Let's watch A Star Is Born one more time. I just want to see Judy work. What's wrong with that?
17 minutes after the hour. Back for more coffee with Carlos Rocky on the Stephanie Miller Show. It is
Basil.
Tony Basil.
Tony Basil.
Yes, there you go. 22 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEP-12, the phone number. Toll free from anywhere. Coffee with sexy liberal Carlos Rocky.
Tony Basil Faulty.
Oh, Ricky! You're so fine. Manuel, where are you going?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
for
you.
you, John. Please stand. That was Tony Basil Faulty.
Did you know that she is 70 years old?
That was random. Really?
She's 70.
Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Oh, Mickey.
She turns 71 in September, next month.
I hear she's climbing Mount
We are
Faulty.
old. We are old. Me and my Jessica Tandy hands. Pardon me? Oh, sorry. Was that? Oh, that was my first.
Oh, sometimes Steph and I just sit by the fire, telling stories about the black and white days.
I'm so old I invented fire. He was there.
Yeah.
The obelisk.
The monolith.
I call it the obelisk.
Okay. Bill in North Carolina.
You say sabotage. You say sabotage. I say sabotage.
Hello, Bill in North Carolina.
Hey, Stephanie, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I've been looking and watching and listening about the Michael Brown case.
Yep.
And it's all about, seems to be almost a characterization full back and forth. But my question is, they talk about Michael and graduated from high school, killed on Saturday. He was due to go to college on Monday. Have you ever heard mention of which college he was going to?
No, he wanted to be a heating and air conditioning.
I think it was a
technical school. Yeah, technical college.
Technical. Okay. So, but I was thinking it's all about characterization. I mean, we heard about the officer and what good standing officer he was and stuff, and then you heard about Michael Brown, and then the latest has been he was almost characterized as a thug in a sense. So, and then the next question was like, over $400,000 has been raised for the officer, and I just wonder why would money need to be raised for him at this point?
Well, yeah, exactly. And what happens to that money if it turns out he's guilty, you know, and he gets convicted? I mean, it's and by the way, the officer, the other thing the news did come out, we talked about yesterday, is he was in a unit that was disbanded previously for racial stuff. And not that he, you know, again, not evidence he was directly in, but all of those officers were fired. Some of them were, he got hired again in Ferguson. And again, not specific incidents mentioned involving him, but it was a unit that was notorious for this kind of, for racial stuff going on in the community. I forget, somewhere else in Missouri, not Ferguson. Anyway, we were saying, Carlos, you and I were talking about it during the thing, and that's the problem, is we don't know what happened, but I can't help that I find it implausible. That I mean, I'm just saying because it's more than one witness said it looked like the officer, first of all, kind of started the altercation by saying, get the on the sidewalk, and then his friend said the officer grabbed him, and there was clearly a scuffle of some kind, but other witnesses said that it was the officer that grabbed him, and he was trying to pull away. That began the escalation. He escalated it first. And I said the biggest thing, I think, is the wound in the back of his arm, which would tell me it was either while he was running away or while he was hands up, right? I mean... So I don't know. And with these latest, the gunshots, Chris and I were saying earlier, it could support either narrative, I suppose, depending on what you believe. But,
sure. Yeah.
But to some lawyers, I saw on TV yesterday, the pause is damning because you're like, this gives him time to, what's the word they say? To have intention, to know, first of all, that he's already shot. Right. He knows he's unarmed.
Yeah, you're designed to, the first 6 shots supposedly are designed to stop what's coming at you, so why the other 4?
Right.
Right. And I just said I find it implausible that you're going to charge at a cop that's shooting at you when you're unarmed, but again, I don't know. I mean...
Grand jury will come out with the most of the facts that we're going to be able to hear. Whether they're going to be all of them, we will see.
This is the new audio that has not been authenticated yet, but it was a guy having sexy time.
Sexy time.
Video chat. I'm sorry, that was not to make light of the tragedy, which we've not. I was just saying he is very, very focused. What he is doing. I'm just saying most people might have paused briefly if there were gunshots in them.
And like one of our tweeters said, even Cato Kalin put the call on hold to find out if the banging was an earthquake.
What's that in the background, baby? Oh, no, it's nothing, honey. It's just Chinese New Year. Go ahead, Factory. Keep talking.
Right, here it is.
You are pretty. You're so fine. Just going over some of your videos. How could I forget?
I can't even count the number of shots because I'm listening to you.
You're so fine. How could I forget? You are so pretty. See, this was all caused by the gays.
I've heard that at least 10 times.
Does there come to a point where she goes, what? Sir, what is that sound? Oh, baby, don't worry about that. Wait, was this? Focus on what I'm saying.
I might have misspoke. Was this 2 men talking to each other? Or
No, it was a woman.
I wanted to attack the gays. Damn it.
That was nothing. Just what are you wearing?
See, it's heterosexual sex that is to blame.
Right.
For not having the proper evidence.
Exactly.
Those damn heteros.
Exactly. So much gunfire in America, but nobody notices. Just whatever. Don't worry about that now.
Oh, just a couple of kids playing.
Don't worry about that now. Worry about the fact that I have my on your... Okay, let's get back to that.
Yeah. Let's get back to sexy time.
So pretty.
Oh, yeah.
I see those videos you did.
Now I want to see those videos she did.
I got my 3D glasses on.
This is awful.
It is terrible.
Wow. I brought a Wawa guitar player with me. Wow.
Is it wrong to want to hear the rest of the video chat? Because I understand that's the part that's relevant to the case. I just wanted.
Yeah. Gunshots, schmunshots. What else happens?
Come on, keep talking. I'm almost there. It was nothing.
I want you to wear a police uniform. Well,
I remember because I used to do an evening radio show, and how many times would a guy call and go, could you just keep talking for a couple more minutes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was there.
What?
It ain't gonna happen. Mama got back from Mount Baldy.
Mama's got a frozen cooter.
Joe in Illinois, you're on with Carlos. Hello, Joe. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't realize the time. Carlos, you've distracted me again. All right, more coffee with Carlos.
And more sexy time.
Sexy time, Carlos.
Yeah.
I want to go ice fishing down there.
Come on.
Stephanie Miller.
Thank you.
At least not to her face.
This is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 34 minutes after the hour. Coffee with Sexy Lover Carlos out of Rocky.
Carlos, you guys want to hear music from Newsies?
Yes.
No.
I can play it on my phone. Open the gates and seize the day.
Very show tuning today.
Neighbor to neighbor, father to son. One for
Let's take a call.
Speaking of show tunes, hi Dave in Minneapolis. Hello, Dave.
Steffi, thank you so much. I wanted to see if I...
Oh, it's a different Dave. Never mind. All right, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, sorry, not that Dave. But you and I did get to meet when you were in here, and you were fabulous, awesome, and I love you to pieces.
Thank you.
I wanted to see if I could help regarding why the shooting of Michael Brown is different from, say, some black guy shooting another black guy in Chicago. And that is, if you could check out a book called The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. It documents how the discrimination against blacks mostly and Hispanics to a smaller extent has been systemic in the United States. Things like stopping a black man on the street and charging him, busting him for one little thing, but charging him with all kinds of things so that he'll plead guilty to the one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, with Eric Holder, among others, have talked about, sentencing disparities and all of that. And that's part of, everybody not understanding what was going on in Ferguson before this is the huge percentage of the police force that's white and compared to the percentage of the community and the disproportionate number of stops, even though whites are more likely to have contraband on them.
Akin to the search and frisk laws in New York and all that kind of stuff. Well, you look like somebody we should search and frisk. Well, really? But yeah, again, my utopian solution would be to have a black and white officer and or a Latino, black and Latino on every call. But that's probably unaffordable due to the corporations not paying their taxes anymore.
It worked on Reno 911.
Absolutely. Jones and I, there was a Klansman trying to burn a cross on the front lawn, and you had a black officer and a white, Latino, self-denying Mexican officer going to take care of the problem. And what happens? He ends up lighting his friend on fire. That's one less Klansman we had to worry about.
Yeah.
It works.
That's good policing.
That's good policing right there.
Speaking of people of color that are sucking off the government teat, John Boner.
Yes.
His lawyer is charging the American taxpayer $500 an hour to sue President Obama. How about that?
Good.
A Washington attorney named David Rivkin co-authored an article in Politico last January that laid out a legal theory that John Boner now plans to use to sue President Obama because he's not implementing Obamacare fast enough. Rivkin's legal theory, according to experts, rests on a glaring misrepresentation of a recent Supreme Court decision that undermines much of the basis for this lawsuit. Nevertheless, Boner's decided to hire him to represent the GOP in its lawsuit against the president. $500 an hour, all charged to us, the American taxpayer. Oh, during remember the litigation challenging the Defense of Marriage Act? Boner hired another fancy lawyer that charged us $520 an hour, the American people. Okay.
Great.
However much he collects from the American people, Rivkin is unlikely to win his lawsuit if judges who consider it follow existing law. Normally, the plaintiff has to prove they've been injured in some way. Okay, so this is another, it's just, useless. It's by the fiscal conservatives.
Of course.
Trademark Republican Party. Okay, thanks for that. Let's go to Joe in Illinois. You're on with Carlos. Hi, Joe.
Hi. I have a comment about the Ferguson thing.
Yes.
I'm a 70-year-old, so I'm a lot older than you.
Thank you.
Not much.
Not much, yeah. Well, anyway, I'm still working. I work for 911. And the thing I get from this Ferguson thing is why doesn't the officer, instead of standing there and shooting, go after the person that's running away? And no one's ever mentioned about a taser. I would think that a taser or
well, in a lot of these cases recently that, we've seen, either caught on tape or not, I've had this, again, I'm not a cop, but I don't understand why there's not more non-lethal means used in some of these circumstances. This one guy that had a knife we talked about, the cops showed up, he was shot dead in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
They didn't try anything else at all.
Yep.
Yeah. Shooting someone to kill should be a very last resort.
Gene in Texas, you're on with Carlos. Hi, Gene.
Hey, Stephanie, good to talk to you.
Yes,
Listen to you every day.
Thank you.
Just wanted to tell you, this is talking about a subculture. The police are a subculture. I'm 74 years old, and I've seen it happen. You know, if you kill a cop, you get the death penalty. You lie to a cop, you go to jail. Well, what really appalls me is in this Ferguson situation, when these guys that are police are pointing their guns at citizens. What is wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
That could be somebody in their family. Why are we saying, and I'm talking about black or white or whatever, why are we all saying that's wrong?
Yeah.
And standing up and raising hell about it.
Yeah, it's exactly what we just did.
Yeah.
We just raised a little
just
hell.
did, yeah.
Just that. It's, boys and their toys, the GI cops, right? I mean, it's, I don't know.
Maybe it's a catch-22. You know, they always argue. The things we used to see in at the sheriff's station, there were posters of like, criminals don't stop lifting. You shouldn't be either. And, you know, about cops working out and getting bigger. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. If the criminals are getting bigger and more active and more violent, the cops have to be just as big and violent.
That's what I'm saying, because we're cultured to this
steroid-filled as the people they're fighting. And so I think, mutually speaking, too, the people have less respect for cops, per se.
But even just the way you just put it, fighting, they're supposed to protect and serve. Right. We're not supposed to be fighting each other.
It's not supposed
there are cases, too. This guy posted on Facebook. He's an African-American, and he posted a cop trying to mace somebody, and the guy was kicking the crap out of the cop because he wouldn't pull his gun. And the citizens were standing around watching the cop get beat up by this big guy. And he's trying to use mace. So there are cases where that happens as well. So, it's a question of society getting more violent, not having enough money to go towards good police forces, everybody having a partner while they're patrolling, all those kinds of things. It's all systemic, as somebody was saying, of taking money out of a community and hoping that it'll just work out all right. And again, it's why I think it all stems from what we were talking about with Burger King, with corporate taxes, what Bernie Sanders is talking about. If you have more money to put into, and we're not spending all this money for foreign aid all over the world and trying to spread our tentacles, if we put the money into our communities, free education for kids, free college like they have in Sweden, I think this might lead to some of these problems
we pause
diminishing.
Now. We pause now for a hate letter for Chris.
Oh, what'd I do?
You said gamers all live in their mom's basement. Ron says, Steph, isn't Chris technically in mama's basement? Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you
are.
Only,
it's because she pays me.
And we're not playing games.
It's the only reason
you
that
work
I'm here.
in mom's basement.
I work, but I don't live. Thank God.
Okay. Richard in Chicago. You're on with Carlos. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, go ahead.
How are you today?
Good, go ahead.
Hi. You know, if the gentle giant, whatever they want to call him, if he would have just done what the officer told him to do, whether it be right or wrong, we wouldn't be going through all this. I think if he'd have went to the curb like the officer told him to do, whether he...
Is your phone in your pants pocket?
I'm sorry?
Is your phone in your pants right now?
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear you.
Oh, we can't really understand.
I think I get his implication, but we don't know. We don't know how the officer, if the officer, in fact, asked him to do something. We don't know his attitude. Yeah, obviously, if one of the two were to be passive and did not further the escalation, this probably may not have happened, but who knows how it started? That's the problem. He's assuming that the officer said, hey, can you please move to the sidewalk? And maybe he's assuming that even, hey, you blankety blank, get to the freaking sidewalk right away. But I think it goes beyond that. It goes beyond years and years of being treated like that. And at some point, you're going to snap and go, no, I don't want to go to the sidewalk because I haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And so you could argue that if that person that's saying that is white, he doesn't end up dead. Because there are plenty of white people that go, screw you, officer, I'm not going to do what you want to do. And they don't end up dead.
Yeah, it's the totality of the picture. That they didn't even file an incident report. They didn't interview witnesses. They wouldn't release the name of the officer. I mean, everything just led to more of this distrust that a lot of people already have. Let's go to Steph in Madison. Hi, Steph.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I was going to say, if some cop, if I'm walking on the road and they ask me to walk on the sidewalk, I would totally question why. Don't tell me where I need to walk. But the thing the differences, the dopey McDoperson that called in, what's the difference between gang violence and then a police shooting a unarmed black person? I mean, give me a break. They're supposed to protect and serve? How is that protecting? And I'm sorry, there is something wrong with them if you would even think of shooting. It is just, this is just, is so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, and I don't know why hearing the gunshots to me made, again, I don't know whose case, again, it bolsters, but boy, to me, that just sounded like an execution. Particularly, in my mind, when I hear the pause, I'm like, wow,
it sounds like
we've already shot him 6 times. Like, you know he's unarmed, and you know, here comes 4 more shots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty harrowing. But again, no, I wasn't a real sheriff, but we were at the sheriff's station working Carson a lot and hearing stories. And
for Reno
911. And I remember one officer telling me she was just on the force like a year, and she had practiced at the range. She just went in to talk to some domestic dispute, and within seconds, a lady pulled a knife on her and charged her from 20 feet away. I barely had time to get my weapon out, and boom, I think she shot her in the stomach. But so there is a thing where cops are supposed to protect and serve, but a citizen in these days can be potentially heavily armed.
Yeah.
They have less respect for the cops. So
did the woman die, by the way, or?
No, she lived.
Yeah.
She lived. So it's hard for the cop, too. I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, but it's not always where, you want the cops to go into a situation where they're there to protect and serve, but their lives are on the line, too, because a citizen can snap and be heavily armed at any minute. Look at the North Hollywood bank robbery thing where the cops were outgunned by ordinary citizens. They had to go to a gun store and buy weapons. So.
I want our cops to be funnier, like the cops on Reno 911.
That's right.
Okay, 46 minutes after the hour. Make everything better.
Yeah.
46 minutes after the hour. Back with the remaining moments. Coffee with Carlos on the Stephanie Miller Show. Oh, racist. Playing this when Carlos is here.
That's right. Living the crazy life.
Really.
Damn Mexicans. He's Puerto Rican. And damn Cubans. Puerto Rican.
51 minutes after the hour. Coffee with Carlos Alas Rocky. Who you can see live. Where can you see live?
Where am I performing next? We're going to do it live from the Bowl Show again sometime in September, probably at the Flappers Music Room. More information on that. Check out my website. It's coming up.
Ooh.
Or my Twitter sphere.
Very exciting.
Other than that, October 6th, I'm doing a benefit in the Bay Area. I'll be, that's a Monday night. I'll be letting you know where that is. I think in the Mill Valley, Novato area, that type of thing.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous.
All right, Dan.
Okay. I don't know why I was just doing Carl from Sling Blade yesterday. I don't remember why, but that was you and I worked together back when we just made Carl in every sketch just because.
Yo, let's make some meth.
All right, Dan, can we make it with mustard?
Whatever, yo.
I thought of Carlos on this story.
Oh.
A Virginia man named Stoner arrested on pot charges. Yeah. No word. His last name is Stoner, right? Assuming his first name is.
Pod! T-S-N, on my towels.
A Virginia man with the last name Stoner facing drug charges. Police found more than $10,000 worth of marijuana plants at his home.
Of course they did.
All right, man. Got some seeds for sale.
I believe Todd was first born when there was a mayor of Santa Cruz, and we just assumed that that's what he sounded like, but we don't know.
Got banana slugs. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Who?
Ray?
This is just, no matter who you are, this is going to irritate you. This can all bring us together. All races, all income.
All right.
Like who's Whoville?
Northwest. She's the 14-month-old of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West.
Yes.
She has a $1 million wardrobe.
Ah, good.
You have, as you just got here from Vagina Island, you have little girls. How old?
I have a three-year-old daughter and an 8-month-old daughter.
And they outgrow their clothes how quickly? When they are?
It doesn't matter because the one's getting the hand-me-downs. You wore what your sister wore, see, and shut up and like it. Yeah.
And actually, currently, you were saying they don't tend to wear clothes very much, and they're very into
They're very into their things.
They like to touch themselves.
Quit touching that. Yeah, they like the.
Oh my God.
However,
it's natural.
I'm just saying it. I've been told, having not spawned myself, I don't, but I'm just assuming.
You can't spawn now.
Right, but anyway, North has more than $1 million worth of designer clothes. A lot of them are custom made. She has tons of Givenchy, Gucci,
Givenchy.
Louis Vuitton.
How did you pronounce that?
I don't know.
Givenchy?
She even has a fur coat, and what baby doesn't need a fur coat?
You got to have a fur coat in L.A. Come on, it's below.
Designed especially for her by Karl Lagerfeld. That cost $20,000.
Yeah, well.
Oh my God. Kanye has managed to get, I'm going to pronounce this wrong too, Hermes to design a mini Birkin bag for North.
A mini burqa?
No.
Is
Birkin
she a Muslim?
Bag. No.
Oh, sorry.
Because Kim's already started Kim has already started a handbag collection for her.
Of course.
What does a 1-year-old baby need a handbag for?
Well, you know, for your things, your diapers and your wipes. And your little mini Elsa dolls that you're going to carry around.
Okay. All right. North also has an expensive jewelry collection because, you know, accessories make the outfit, of course.
Sure.
Right, including a ruby and pearl necklace that the rapper insured for $500,000 after he bought it for her in Paris.
Man, there's just all kinds of wrong about that. And isn't this Kanye's like
every level of wrong?
A person of faith or whatever, and always talking about God and stuff. I don't get it. People don't grow up. They're kids. Very dangerous people. I feel sorry for that girl.
You do not love your children if you have not bought them a baby fur coat by the time they're...
I'm going to kidnap that Northwest and put her to work in the backyard.
And by the way, it's a baby that lives in L.A.
Yeah, fur coat? You got to have a fur coat.
Right. Okay, I don't even want to get into all the layers of wrong. Okay. Chris in Chicago, you're on with Carlos. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how are y'all today?
Good, go ahead.
I just had a couple things to add to your show.
Thank you.
I don't think, I think it's the mentality of the officers, and I used to have great respect for them, and I no longer. Instead of de-escalating the situation, they take it out of context and go a step higher. Like the gentleman with welding the knife, you know, they could have used other methods. They had no problem shooting the protesters with rubber bullets, tear gas, and stuff like that. So, and the gentleman was at least 20, 25 feet away from them, and they could have used other means, you know, shot him with, you know, something to stun him or something, and then send 10 guys, wrestle him down. You know, it's a done deal. They even killed in White Plains, New York. They killed a ex-Marine, retired, in his home, responding to a life alert where it went off, and he didn't want them in his home. They took the door off the hinges, and things escalated, and they ended up killing him, a senior citizen.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Is you know, cops' job is supposed to be to de-escalate situations, not to escalate them.
But not all cops are like that. Obviously, the cop Johnson, who was representing the highway patrol and trying to calm things, would you assume that about him? Would you assume that he ever escalates the situation? No. There are some good cops, both black and white, and it's not every cop that does that. There are some bad cops, for sure.
Yep. More importantly, Taylor Swift says having a boyfriend does not ever work. Don't I know it, Taylor?
What are you implying?
She said finding a boyfriend she's a little clingier than I am even. Didn't she buy a house next door to the Kennedy kid she was dating?
Yeah.
Oh, my God's sakes.
Oh, boy.
She said finding a boyfriend isn't really possible at the moment. I wonder why. Because she said she would much rather focus on female friendship. That's how it starts.
That's how they recruit you.
She said it just doesn't seem like a possibility in the near future. It does not ever work. You know why? Because she's not ever getting back together.
Ever.
With any
Ever.
of the guys
And they
she's
sit
been
on the
with
couch and give you a back rub and a cup of cocoa. And the next thing you know, you're full-on lesbian.
What? I've never done that to anyone. I don't know what you mean. Cocoa is not one of my weapons. And besides, mine's frozen now, so nothing's
happening.
Ain't nothing happening now.
It'd be like that trick where you stick your tongue on a pole.
Yeah, at least your tongue didn't get stuck on it.
She triple dog dared me.
Next woman that dates me in Dumb and Dumber. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Christmas Story.
Right. Okay, we love you, Carlos.
Thank you. We love you as well.
All right. I'll be on vacation next week. We'll see you the next week.
We'll see you the next time.
All right. Love you. See you tomorrow on the Stephanie Miller Show.